one.
Hi!
We're the Game
Brass.
We're going to nail that someday, I promise. Hello, everybody. We are, of course, the Game Brass. Thank you for joining us tonight. Today is release day for us for our brand new album, the Brass Indie Expo. We're really excited to show you what all these tracks sound like. And so let's just jump right in with the first one. We have A Short Flight from A Short Hike.
All right, and we're back. So that was the first track from our album, the Brass Indie Expo. That was A Short Flight from A Short Hike, arranged by Daniel Romberger. It was originally composed by Mark Sparling. So yeah, you're about to hear a whole album of tracks from indie games, and this is our first quintet albums since 2020's Castles. Every track is quintet. There's some percussion we've thrown in. And all of them were arranged by who you see here, with in-house in the group. After our giant last album, we wanted to go back and return to form with something a little more intimate. So we're the Game Brass. I'd like to introduce who we got here, starting with our first trumpet.
Hi. Yeah, my name is John Robert Metz. I play trumpet and do some other things, and even do a little bit of singing on this album.
Hi, I'm Robbie Duguay. I am the second trumpet in the band.
Hi, I'm John Stacy. I am the horn, the only.
Hello, I am Daniel Rumberger. I play trombone on this album. I also play euphonium on one track, do a little bit of percussion on one track, and do a little bit of theremin on one track. And I was partially responsible for this. I was the one who was really pushing the idea of doing an indies album, and I did exactly half of the 16 arrangements that you'll be hearing today.
I was going to say you did most of the lion's share of the lifting on this.
Exactly half. Not majority. Plurality, though.
Hello. I'm Alex Hill, and I played both C tuba and F tuba on this album.
I'm Rahul, and I played some percussion on this.
And in addition to Raul, who can't join it, we have Doug Perry, who also played some stuff on this album, some percussion. He can't join us tonight. He's actually out performing live somewhere in New York City with Disco Cactus.
Friends of the Friends of the band, Disco Cactus. Occasionally hard to parse, but
Yes.
Otherwise amazing.
And I'm Thomas Kresge, mixer of the album, producer, and the arranger of a couple things on this. Well, let's continue. So our next track on the album is the main theme from Hat in Time. Please enjoy.
Hats off.
Hello again. That was the main theme from A Hat in Time. Originally, it was composed by Michael Stiefel. Yeah, there we go. I got his name. 3 names. And arranged by myself, Thomas Kresge, with a bit of inspiration from Back to the Future at the opening there. So if you don't know Back to the Future because you don't know it, then look it up, because I copied that for that arrangement.
It's pretty good. You can copy it. You just took
it's real
inspiration
good.
from it. It's
I
fine.
didn't copy it.
It's great.
I said, this is what
Alan Silvestri, one of the
I mean,
best scores.
Now is basically the future, so.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Now
it
we're
literally.
there, so what you're seeing tonight, we have score videos for each of these. So we're gonna present you the score for everything. We do have full, nicely produced music videos. We'll be releasing regularly on our YouTube channel. In fact, the first track we heard, A Short Flight, already has It's Up. If for some reason you're in this stream but not subscribed to us on YouTube, then subscribe. And on Spotify, I guess, and all the other places you can do that. And especially on Bandcamp, where this album is available for sale. Alongside, for the first time, kind of, in our history, a bunch of sheet music for this. So we were happy to be able to work with a lot of the composers to get sheet music officially produced for about half of the tracks on this. So A Short Flight was one of them. And the next track we're getting to, Ruins from Undertale, is also got some sheet music up there. But without further ado, let's hear what we've got coming up next. What else?
One more to clarify on sheet music. So yeah, this is the first time that we've had sheet music available for a broader scale album, and we're really excited about that. Really excited that we were able to work with the original composers. We are actually distributing the sheet music on our Bandcamp as well. So if you go to thegamebrass.bandcamp.com and click on the merch tab, then that will show all of the pieces that we have on offer. If you want to just study the score, then the scores are available for $6.50. If you want the parts as well to possibly play with your own ensemble, then the parts are also $6.50. So if you were to get both score and parts, then you would get 2 offerings on the same page, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's $13. I did math.
Yeah, but because we were able to work out these licenses with the original composers, that means that we have very little of the proceeds that we get from the sheet music will go to any kind of third-party service or other middleman. Bandcamp's cut is very reasonable, so most of the money that you would spend on sheet music goes directly to us and to the original composers who wrote the music. So that is something that we are especially excited by.
Yeah.
Something that people have been asking for quite a while. So, anyhow, feel free to check that.
More.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
So next up, we have the most famous indie game of the past 40 years. This is Ruins from Undertale.
Game of the Year 2015.
And we're back. That was my arrangement of The Ruins from Undertale, which was composed by Toby Fox. And if you are interested in being the best kind of correct, which is technically correct, this was the first arrangement written for the album, which was written back in January of 2018. Basically, I arranged it, and then there was never really the right opportunity to play it. So we just kind of shelved it. And it was written for septet, so it had an extra horn and an extra trombone. And I created a quintet version for this album. But like many of the tracks on this album, there will be sheet music available for this, and I think it is already currently available. So yeah, if you like this arrangement, go ahead and check out the sheet music for it.
I really dig that one. Like you did a lot of really good stuff with like the shifting like duplets against triplets and like sextuplets going down, and it's got a lugubrious quality that I appreciate. But well done.
Given the amount
it's
of
good.
Undertale out there, I think it's nice that this is probably the most
Lugubrious.
creative. That's not the right word. This is probably the most divergent arrangement.
Yeah, totally.
Material.
Interpretive. Yeah.
Interpretive.
Yeah, I'm
and-
always a fan of like taking stuff 12 degrees off of whatever it was supposed to be at the beginning. But speaking of taking things a little bit divergent, our next track is from a very popular indie game indeed. Arguably slightly less indie now that Microsoft owns them, but this is Minecraft. This is Other Side from Minecraft, and it's actually a little bit of a shift. This is not one of the C418 tracks. This is from an expansion composed by our dear friend Lena Rain. So you're going to listen to Other Side from Minecraft next. That was Other Side from Minecraft, arranged by our own Daniel Romberger and originally composed by Lena Rain. Daniel?
Yeah, that was Other Side. I hope you enjoyed that one. I actually discovered the original tune not because of Minecraft. I have crafted very few mines in my life, but I just happened to be listening to a playlist that had like a Spotify mixtape where they recommend songs for me, and it's just like a chill mix. And Other Side came on, so that was pretty cool to hear a video game music tune by Lena Rain, who's a composer that I know already, in that kind of a context. So I really enjoyed the piece, wanted to arrange it, and adapting it for brass was an interesting exercise, especially at the beginning. So much of it depends on synths and a bit of an echo effect, which I tried to replicate at the beginning. You had the players breathing through mouthpieces to replicate the wind. We've done that in a couple tracks before. I think the very first time that we did it was in the Skyrim Dragonborn arrangement, but as an extended technique, that's certainly been around a bit beforehand. And yeah, it's a really nice, peaceful melody. It's in major. I think there's something just naturally warm about pieces that have phrases that end on the major scale degree 3, which that one has a lot. There are a couple other indie tracks that I arranged through this, and I noticed a bit of a commonality in that sort of thing that I enjoyed. And then it turns into Gerudo Valley at the end, and everyone loves a good Gerudo Valley. But I also wanted to shout out Rahul for playing the drum set on that one. My experience with drum set is very limited, so I basically gave Rahul the score, and I'm just like, hey, can you play drums over this? I don't know what to do, so anything you do will be fine. Do you want to chime in on your process for like figuring out what was going on?
Oh yeah, sure. So this was a track that I was not familiar with before recording, and so I deliberately did not listen to the original because I didn't want to be influenced by it. So I spent a little time just playing around. I tried to match a lot of the rhythms that the brass were doing. Danny gave me like a rough idea of the contour and the energy it should be at throughout. And so about halfway through, when it got to the quiet part, I started playing with this. I started matching the brass rhythm on my cymbals. And as it built up towards the end of the piece, I kept that rhythm in while adding others around the kit, so it felt like I was just layering stuff on top of another. So yeah, pretty happy with how it turned out. It was fun.
Yeah, it really worked well. I love the like little bits and fills that you added during the piccolo trumpet solo and towards the end of the piece, especially. It was a really nice touch.
Yeah, thanks.
So yeah, this piece actually has a video premiere that will be coming out on Sunday. So look forward to that and seeing Rahul in person playing the drum set. Thomas did the video edit for that one. I did the preliminary edit, and I'll say that there are some fun things to look forward to. In the meantime, let's go on with the next track, which is Hive Knight. I forgot the name of it.
Hive Knight from Hollow Knight.
Oh, right. Hive Knight is the track name. Hollow Knight is the game. Yes. I have played Hollow Knight before, but not very much of it. Anyway, hope you enjoy.
Hello again. That was Hive Knight from Hollow Knight, or a later expansion of Hollow Knight, actually. Yeah, I don't know. Fun track. Arranged by me, originally composed by Christopher Larkin. There's a section there where everybody just plays on their mouthpieces.
It's beautiful.
I thought it was never before
That's
done by
fun.
the Game Brass, but Danny had actually already arranged something that did that at some point. So
Never before done on a Game Brass album,
There we
but
go, yeah.
Yeah, it was
I did
on
it.
Bonus Room Blitz, right?
Yep, it was on Bonus
Yeah.
Room Blitz, which is on a Pixel Mixers album. I forget
true.
what the name of it is, but it's a tribute to Donkey Kong.
and I want another shout out to Doug Perry, who's playing a bunch of stuff on that snare drum, castanets, triangle. Hopefully we'll see him in video soon. And again, reminder: this is all tracks from our newest album, the Brass Indie Expo, available.
Is that a physical album?
Available as a CD.
Yeah, you can buy it.
We don't know where to get a CD player, but you can get a CD of this for your mantelpiece, for your bedroom.
Yeah, you could
whatever.
frame
For your
it. You
car.
could
For your
play it your car, your old car.
Your old
It still has a
Use
CD player.
CDs.
Yeah, somehow. And the art of this was done by Emma Ember, who has done some of our other art in the past. You're actually seeing a bunch of her art behind every one of these videos. If we look closely, there's a bunch of paintings of like every track that she created as part of this. So we've featuring those on these tracks as well in the background. Well, next up is another indie track, right? Why don't you
It
talk
is.
about this, John?
I hope so.
Definitely.
John Robert?
Me, sure, yeah, absolutely. Our next track up is from a little game called Spiral Knights. This is Cradle.
It is Cradle.
Did you hit play yet?
No, not yet. We're still live, guys.
Hello, hello, welcome back. So that was Cradle from Spiral Knights, a wonderful little like MMO blast from the past. I really, really love this track. I love that game. Specifically, I love the way Harry Mack writes music for both Spiral Knights, Slime Rancher, and a couple others. And I just wanted to give a quick shout out to one of my partners, Yari, who got me into Spiral Knights through the music, actually. That's how I got into it. And thank you to two people from Monomi Park, Ian McConville, and of course Harry Mack, for both Harry Mack for composing this, and Ian for being a very strong inspiration to me artistically. But next up, we have a very... I love this track so much. I want to throw it over to John Robert to introduce it.
Yeah, our next track is from a maybe not their most famous game, but definitely one of the most interesting in settings. Supergiant Games, Pyre. Fascinating little thing. This is The Old Ways. Hope you enjoy. That was The Old Ways from Supergiant Games' Pyre, by originally Darren Korb, arranged by yours truly. I we had a fun little moment of clarification when we realized that that was the first arrangement written, although not originally written for this project. It comes from another project a little while ago. We spruced it up, re-recorded parts, made it even better. So if you dig back, you'll find an old recording, an old recording from a while ago. A few little tweaks have been made since then. Some stuff's a little bit more polished, but I am rather fond of that thing. This came from an era where I was writing some wild counterpoint all over the place and being creative with my expression markings. I'm always a bit creative with my expression markings, much to Thomas's chagrin. He's probably he's making a face right now. Perfect. So you may have
That's
seen
just
some.
his face.
I don't know if I'm rant about it today. I'll
Anyway.
shit about it later.
But yeah, Pyre. It's a great game. Great music. What a setting. What a fantastic setting. Who'd have thought that they could make a weird fantasy sports game wrapped in a visual novel with a million paths that would all break your soul and make you cry. What a piece of art. Thank you,
They're good at what they
Supergiant
do.
Games, and thank you, Darren Korb. I'm going to pass the baton over and set up our next track. This one is from a very popular game, Inscryption, which took the world by storm. This is The Temple of Magics.
All right, that was the Temple of Magics from Inscryption. I say with the C and the K because of the X.
I thought I said magics very clearly before, but I didn't think you could do it more.
Yeah.
That's good.
You gotta enunciate.
Yeah, put more in the mix.
Good. Magics.
Yeah, what can I say about that one? So it's from Inscryption. I'll say it appears about midway through the game of Inscryption. Inscryption relies very heavily on its story content, but it dubs itself as an inky black deck builder. So take that as what you will.
I just got scared after the first trailer with that bearded man in a scary cabin. I don't like it. It's not good. Prospector guy, not a fan of it.
Yeah, you have to get a little bit farther than the Prospector in order to hear this track in context. But it is it's basically a theme and variations piece. It uses the same melody the entire time, doesn't really deviate from it. And in order to take that energy and then recapture it for brass ensemble, I kind of added a little bit of my own ideas and variations. So some of the ideas were textural. The beginning started off with multiple players muted, and then it followed the energy of the original piece and kind of broke towards the end of it. The very end, where it's reaching the climax of the piece, I believe it has trumpet, second trumpet, and horn playing in parallel. And the intervals of the parallel are like a major seventh and a tritone, so the two most dissonant intervals possible all stacked together, while in the meantime, trombone and tuba are actually in octaves, and we're doing our own like strong counterpuntal thing. So yeah, theme and variations. It was composed by Jonas Senzel. Jonas Senzel also composed the music to the other Daniel Mullins games, which are Pony Island and The Hex. Strongly recommend those as well, but Inscryption is absolutely phenomenal. I saw about like 15 seconds of it before I knew that I had to get it on my own. 15 seconds might be a little much. Might be maybe more like 15 minutes.
It's like,
anyway,
I think it was when we first I was some of you know that it's like I was working on the I score all the Devolver shows when we do these like E3 things, and the very first time they announced it, I got to like see this trailer beforehand, and it's like, what the heck is this mood piece of a trailer with the creepiest flute at the end? I'm like, okay, I want to know everything about this game, but I don't want to play it.
It is an intense experience in the best way. And if you want to experience this arrangement for yourself, see what I did there? That's how
nice
you segue.
Segue. Oh, yeah.
This one, when we reached out to Jonas Senzel, he enjoyed the arrangement, and what he requested was, would we be able to distribute this for free in service to the community? And we're like, yes, absolutely. Thank you for giving us permission to do that. So we're going to make this available in a more official capacity later, once we figure out how to do that. There's a bit of difficulty having that be on the Bandcamp platform as well. But in the meantime, Band-Aid solution, I have a Google Drive folder that has the score and parts for what you just heard, Temple of Magics from Inscryption. It also has the score and parts for Hive Knight from Hollow Knight, because we have an agreement with Christopher Larkin, the Hollow Knight composer, that we can distribute this for free with the composer's blessing. So, really strong appreciation for both Jonas Senzel and for Christopher Larkin for giving us permission to do this. I talked about this a little bit before, and I'll say it again. Being able to give sheet music out and distribute sheet music legally is something that the band has wanted to do for a very long time, for pretty much as long as we began, which was 6 years ago. It's really cool that we're able to make it happen now.
I remember when we first started, we had a document of like, here are our goals as a group, here are sort of the rules we want to kind of operate in. And one of the goals was try and play live somewhere like MagFest, but it's not a core, part of what we want to do. Put something out at least once a month, which we've consistently done for 6 years, and try to get sheet music out there. And that one has taken a very long time for us to actually pull off properly. So we can't emphasize enough how excited we are about this next step in the band.
Yeah. And if you're excited about it as well, and you know other people who play brass instruments, maybe have a quintet somewhere, spread the word, tell your friends. Love to have more people on board to play this. And if you do play along with a video or record it yourself, feel free to shout us out. We would love to
tag us in it. Like,
we would love to
let's
hear
see
you
what you've
perform
done.
somewhere.
Play it better than us, please.
Sorry, we of
That's
course like
not a-
out of time, so we're seeing that Hive Night is pretty hard. Lol. Good luck, have fun. Yes.
Yeah. All right, so the next
Sorry.
piece that we have was arranged by our very own Robbie Dugay. Would you like to introduce?
Sure. This next piece is Dark Flute, or more affectionately titled Dark Doot, from the original Sword and Sorcery EP. What's the full title?
Super
Well,
Brothers.
Sword and Sorcery. Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery
Sword
EP.
and Sorcery.
Composed by Jim Guthrie. Here we go. So that was Dark Flute from Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery EP. Nailed the title that time. It was originally composed by a dear friend of mine, Jim Guthrie, who this game came out in 2011, and it was in the very first, what I consider the very first wave of very popular indie games. It sort of set the stage for how indie games have exploded in the last 10 years. And, starting out as a game composer in Toronto, just some little dude trying to get work, meeting Jim Guthrie, he was just like a very down-to-earth guy, very helpful. When I was out of work, he even included me to help out on his Planet Coaster album. Wow. But yeah, he's done a ton of soundtracks since Sword and Sorcery, and fantastic composer. Almost always puts his soundtracks out on vinyl, which is I'm a big video game vinyl collector, so that always means a lot to me. So I wanted to do something that was a classic and something that Jim had done, and this sort of fit well with our ensemble. I also did my best to reference other tracks from that soundtrack in the thing. So there's the sound of the sprites doing the with the trombone doing the glissando. Lots of stuff like that are sort of hidden, scattered throughout the piece. It also features, once again, our friend Rahul Vanamali on drum set, which is a shout out to the original piece as well. It's not that varied from the original track. But I hope you enjoyed that.
So, a special thing about this track is because of life and schedule things, I had to record this entire album in a single sitting. And so it basically was driving up to tech and starting at about 10 p.m. and then just recording all 16 tracks in one go. And Dark Flute was the very last one. And so, by this point, it's about 2 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, maybe. And we're getting there, and I'm like, okay, Dark Flute, this is number 16 on the list. This is the last one. And so we get there, and it's like above the staff, and I'm like, I am dying. I am dying. I should not have done this. This was a horrible idea. But then I get to the end, and it's like all, big and triumphant and grandioso and victorious. And it's just kind of like this thing that it's like, you made it through a 16-track Game Brass album in 4 hours in a single sitting. And now you are not going to play for 3 weeks.
I remember writing the arrangement and thinking, oh man, this horn part gets a little bit high on this one section. John can do it.
Not realizing that it was going to be the final
Track
stage
16,
of a marathon.
Yeah, it's high enough where the sheet
Such is
music
life.
does say optional 8VA.
Yeah.
So
Whenever we see an optional 8VA in this band, you always take the optional 8VA. If you see an optional 8VB, we'd never take that. Unless it's tuba, in which case, always.
Always.
Even if it doesn't say optional AVB, he
Yeah.
throws in the down note. Yeah.
Thomas will be like, you played a pedal note that last one, didn't you? Yes.
Every time.
It's always an improvement, though.
time.
See, that's the key.
Yep. And this one has sheet music available. You can play the optional 8VA yourself, or you can take the option not to.
It's true.
Yes.
So next up, we have a new track. This one is from Slay the Spire, a tremendously popular card game. Once again, arranged by Daniel Romberger. This is The Guardian Emerges, or the Act 1 boss. Enjoy.
All right, that was The Guardian Emerges, also known as the Act 1 boss theme from Slay the Spire. But to be honest, even though it says The Guardian in the title, I associate it the most with Slime Boss, who is my favorite. Julia asked who gets the hat if when you beat Slime Boss. That is a good question. We may have beaten Slime Boss, but we did not beat the hat. The hat remains intact, and it just disappeared somewhere. So... yeah, I play a lot of Slay the Spire. I think it is my single most played game on Steam with something like 500 hours. Beaten on all the characters, A20. It's a lot of fun. It's still extremely challenging. Like, some of the best Slay the Spire players in the world who have streams that get like thousands of views. The win rate is still like nowhere near 100%. It can be very challenging. And a lot of the times you actually don't win against Slime Boss and you don't win against the Guardian. The way I kind of envisioned the arrangement is actually I realize more that you don't win instead of you do win at the end. But it calls back to the title theme. So that is composed by Clark Aboud.
Abood?
That's about right.
About right? Okay.
So sorry.
Nobody deserves that.
And it also features percussion, which adds a lot to the piece in this case. We have both Rahul and Doug playing on it, I believe. Is that right?
Did Raul?
Or is this
I
one just
don't think I played on this one.
Okay, then
I
this one is
played
just this one is just Doug. Then
It's the Doug show.
I see he's credited as playing snare drum and triangle. Thanks a lot for reprising your triangle role again, Doug.
If you were here early, your triangle
roll.
Hey.
If you were
I
here
did not even
earlier,
intend that.
you got to see Doug play triangle in another piece that we did for another indie game. Check out
Waltz of the Trouble King.
King. Yes.
Yeah.
At some point, it's amazing, and the video is amazing. So
Great video
anyway,
gag.
Yeah. And we also have sheet music for that one. So thanks again to Clark Aboud for letting us publish our version of the sheet music, and we're really glad you enjoy our arrangement too. Like, we've been sending these to the composers with a demo, and it's honestly been such a really heartwarming experience seeing the positive reception that we got back. Yeah, thanks so much to everyone. Thanks so much to all the composers for making this happen. So speaking of composers who make things happen,
wow, segue, beautiful.
See, look at that.
You're on
Look at
fire, man.
that. The next piece is Little Shibuya from a game called Super Crush KO by a composer who might happen to be in this call.
Present. So I didn't arrange this. Daniel arranged this. He was so kind as to arrange this and another piece for Brass Quintet for me as a birthday gift a few years ago. So when we started the indie album, I said, guys, Daniel did this arrangement. I'd love to hear it, come to fruition, and it's a good opportunity to do it. So we went with it, and so now we get to hear Little Shibuya performed by Brass Quintet from Super Crush KO.
All right, that was Little Shibuya from Super Crush KO, as arranged by myself and composed by the one, the only Robbie Duguay, who is right here in this call. I hope you enjoyed that one. So yeah, as Robbie said, I wrote this as a birthday gift for him a little while ago. I remember actually getting to see Robbie work in Super Crush KO in real time when I recorded for the a bit of Snowtopia as well as Brassylvania. I was in Robbie Dugay's old studio at that point, so we kind of acted as each other's recording engineers, and then we'd get like Greek food or something afterward, and that was always a really good experience. But
So good.
Sometimes I would get to see what Robbie was up to, and I remember hearing Super Crush KO in real time. So,
I mean, plus
yeah,
Greek
really
food is always a good experience. So, you know.
Really,
Yeah,
really
and
excited to arrange that one.
Yeah, and that game is really meaningful to me. You know, Mobeen Frickery, who's the creator, we've worked together on a whole slew of games now, all the way back to 2014. We Are Doomed, then Graceful Explosion Machine, Super Crush KO, and then most recently Hyper Meteor, which is recently out on Steam, so and Switch. So Vertex Pop Games, shout out to Mo.
The legacy continues.
Yeah, yeah. I have to get him to make another game now.
The next arrangement is another arrangement that actually predates the dream of this album. So there's a couple that somehow got pulled out of the desk drawers to come to y'all today. Next up we have from Cuphead, Funfair Fever.
We've got a few.
And welcome back. That was Funfair Fever from Cuphead. World famous indie game. Like all the other world famous indie games on this album. A lot of our albums, we go through a process of what's supposed to be on this album. Like if somebody says indie game, what do you think of? You know, I'm sure you think of Undertale, I guess. Cuphead is probably one of those as well. There are, in fact, cut tracks from this album that we just didn't have time to finish, or we didn't want the album to become too many tracks, because that happened once, and it's a mixed experience. A lot of fun. We love it, but it's a lot of work. The next one, though, I think I picked because it is the first indie game.
The first.
We're gonna call
There
it
were
the first
no
one.
indie
I don't know,
games before this
it's
one.
It's the oldest track on the album. I think it came out in 2006. Cave Story.
Cave Story.
And I don't know. It feels like a definitive game within the indie game
Pantheon.
Thank you.
Well,
It's definitely a significant milestone for indie games.
Yeah. So up next we have Moonsong from Cave Story, arranged by myself, featuring both, I think, Doug and Raoul for once. Maybe. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I'll have to look up the There's so much
we're
percussion.
so definitive on these things.
And composed by...
Daisuke Amaya.
Thank you, Robbie. This is Moonsong from Cave Story. We're back again. That was Mood Song from Cave Story. And I did forget to mention that the track before that, Funfair Fever, was composed by Christopher Madigan. And arranged
Friend of
by
the
David
band and-
Romberger. Yeah, friend of the band.
Christopher
Apparently been
Madigan is a friend of the band.
Yeah.
We got
Yes.
to hang out with him at MagFest one year and met him, talked with him. Some of us played in a show that he was involved in, and that was a really cool experience. So it was great to be able to feature a track from Cuphead on the album. Believe it or not, it was actually my third time arranging Funfair Fever. The very first time was on my personal channel with myself whistling the lead part and David Russell playing it on piano. Shout outs to David Russell for being able to handle it on piano because that was extremely difficult. And then I took that, I put it into Mario Paint. That was the second time arranging it.
I
So-
love that arrangement.
Yes. Okay, I forgot about that.
Thank
one.
you.
That's
That
good.
wound up being the most popular video on the Danny Music channel. I think because everyone compares that track to the theme from Super Mario World, the athletic
Right.
theme, and Mario Paint is also in the title. So Mario, I think, is the reason for that. But anyway, yeah, this is my third time arranging it for the Game Brass. Not originally for this album, but just because I wanted to arrange the track for the group again. I just had it sitting there in a folder for a while, and we brought it out, spruced it up a little bit. It was still very difficult to play, but we somehow got through it and got to finger wag to it. That's not the track that just played, though. The track that just played was Moon Song. I don't know, Thomas, do you want to say any of several words about that?
I said what I needed to, but I do want to shout out again Doug and Raul for percussion on that. Now, if I remember correctly, Raul played some shaker and some finger cymbals. Little tiny singles that you tap together. You don't usually clap them together.
Yeah.
Ring them on the
I
edges.
just do this, man.
No, you don't do that.
It's like
No,
giant
it's-
hands.
You hold one in one hand and one in the other, and you. Ding.
And then Doug performs the snare drum on that as well. He was supposed to play triangle, but I forgot to send him the part at some point or tell him to do it. So I played the triangle
Behind the
on
scenes.
that. So, but don't tell anybody. Don't tell Doug. Or I don't know.
Are you credited on the CD?
We'll see. I'm not on the CD itself. I don't.
Okay.
I don't want to.
He's credited on the
Bandcamp,
Bandcamp
so
track
there's a secret
information
credit
page.
somewhere. Yeah.
Beautiful.
He's credited in our hearts.
Yeah.
No, he's
Actually,
credited on
everybody-
Bandcamp. I see you on Bandcamp.
Okay, good.
Actually, everybody
Triangle.
here played percussion at some point, but we'll get to that later.
That's
On
true.
the album, yeah. I want to remind everybody that this is an album that you can actually buy on Bandcamp and get a
true.
physical CD for your CD collection that you can share with your
The one you definitely have.
Act
friends,
fast before
you
it
know, yeah.
runs out, because there's only so many that we made.
Yeah,
this
there
goes
is.
for all of our albums. They're all out on CD as well, except for the ones that are already gone.
Some
So,
have sold out.
mm-hmm.
And for the first time, we have a lot of sheet music available. Funfair Fever is not one of them. Sorry, I was going to say it's one of them. Little Shibuya before that you heard is one of them.
Yeah.
Slay the Spire track is up. Dark Flute. So check out Bandcamp. That's where all of the sheet music is. We have a link we shared earlier with a couple free ones that we will get up somewhere more official in a bit once we sort that out. But that takes us into our next track. It's a scary one.
It is, in fact. Our next track is from the monochrome puzzle detective adventure Return of the Obra Dinn by Lucas Pope. The Doom. Enjoy. And we're back. I hope you enjoyed your voyage on the utterly doomed Obra Dinn. See what I did there? It was the. Never mind. Anyway, but yes, that was The Doom from Return of the Obra Dinn, arranged by yours truly, John Robert Matz, and originally composed by the game's designer, Lucas Pope. You may know his work also from games like Papers, Please, and other iconic indie games, but the
Republia Times.
there you go. But Return to the Obra Dinn is an amazing thing, and it's wild that he also wrote all the music for this. Like, it is effective and weird, and I tried my best to adapt this strange, disconcerting, off-putting, aggressive, very like it is the most in-your-face score. When you first it's a game about you're an insurance investigator and you've
Spoilers, dude.
around you're it's spoilers. You
It's a
investigate.
setup, it's fine.
You're an insurance investigator and you board a sailing vessel that has been lost and has now shown up, and everybody is dead. And you have to find out how they died. And you're given a magic stopwatch, or a magic pocket watch, I should say, with which you can prise into the past and see the last moments of the bodies you find.
But only if you've figured out things that unravel the story slowly. So it's a very cool and plotting designed game, which is it's beautifully done. Each turn more weird than the last. I love it.
It's amazing. And every time, there's no music at the beginning, and when the music arrives, it arrives like a freight train. And so trying to write the music, write an arrangement with these strange pieces, and do something that took us on a journey, was a bit of a challenge. That features prominently chime parts played by our good friend Doug Perry. Fun fact, his chimes are not normal chimes. They were stolen from a decommissioned church organ, if I remember right, and they are all strung up and played with mallets.
Stolen's a big word.
I was decommissioned. It's fine. They were given away. He got it.
Recycled.
Yeah. Recycled. Yeah. But so very very fun, and I felt like extra apocalyptic, which was appropriate for the piece. But that brings us.
Sorry to jump in. I want to shout out though Emma Ember again, the album artist
yes.
who did all the art you're seeing in the background of these, including that monster trumpet.
That
thing.
one, a kraken clutching a trumpet is iconic. I do want that on a shirt. It's great. Anyhow,
that trumpet might be actually from the Horns of Hyrule art. So Emma also did our Horns of Hyrule art, which Daniel, you have the shirt on.
Yeah, I do.
You can see it's a bunch of different brass instruments around Yeah, the top right is totally the same trumpet.
Or
Hell yeah.
flugelhorn.
But
Yeah.
rendered into that dithered 1-bit.
Yeah, she did it into the 1-bit thing. So Emma, a fantastic artist, she did the Horns of Hyrule art and also the indie
Amazing.
I never
indie
made that
brass
connection
game.
before. That's super
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And she never expected us to release all these little individual art pieces. They were really
Yeah.
like rough sketches that she threw together to put them into the larger maquette. But
Kind of want to talk
They work
about that
great.
a little bit, as long as we're on
Yeah.
her on subject. Like the album art for this is like it took a while for us to even come up with a name for the album. That was a real trick, and eventually we came on this idea about like an art exposition, like a museum piece, a museum of indie games, as it were.
I think in my
And
head
we
it was
built
more
on
like
that.
a convention.
Yeah, well, I mean, the word expo has that, but I guess I was thinking of like the great expos of the 1800s.
The problem is there are no puns that work well with brass and indie.
that was the big problem. Yeah.
So
There really
we
are
were
not.
stuck for literally like 2 months trying to come up with a good name.
It was a problem.
Yeah. So we said to Emma, like, what if the art was like, we've got all these pieces that we want to feature, and they are all pieces of art inside a museum or, like I guess museum's the best example.
Yeah.
And so she literally made our album cover in 3D and put it into Unity and then layered in all the art pieces behind and got it to the angle she wanted, made sure that the composition all worked the way she liked, and then painted the details over that. So fantastic work from Emma, and yeah, we couldn't be happier.
It is super cool. I love
You
the
can-
artwork so much, and
you
I
can
love
see
like
that-
the little pieces too.
Right here, I think in our stream, you can see the little smaller version of the album art, but it's super good. Highly recommend just like pop over to the Bandcamp and zoom in on that because it's lush, lushly detailed. But that brings us to something else that is also
Oh, it's time.
lushly detailed. It is in fact time.
This piece is absolutely doomed.
Sorry, I was waiting on the stream delay to see if John pointed the right way, and you totally pointed the
Yeah,
wrong
I
way.
was looking at
Other corner. Sorry, I totally zoned
Wait, I
out.
put it the wrong way.
I wonder
Oh
if
no,
you
I
pointed the
mirrored
right way.
it. I mirrored
You pointed at
it.
Yeah,
Rahul.
weird.
Rahul is not the same as the artwork, but we love them
There,
both.
it's down there. It's down there.
Yeah,
I was wondering
Sorry.
that too. But yeah.
yeah.
Nope.
I was just like,
Look at
fixed on it.
Rahul and admire him.
Yeah.
Please.
All right, it's time.
Yeah,
guys.
his glory.
It's time.
It's
Okay.
time.
It's time.
Boy howdy.
It's
Let's get some pizza.
It's pizza time.
Hello there.
Hello there.
The oven of 450 degrees Fahrenheit and allows 30 minutes to ensure there's plenty of time to get fully up to temperature for the pizza. So the oven is preheat, gently punch down the dough, and heat 5 times to smooth it out, add pepperoni and your peppers, which turns all shy.
Are you prepared to get a little bit polyphonic?
All right, everybody, that was pizza time. I hope you enjoyed your pizza, and that was all that was had during this piece. Just pizza.
Just pizza, no madness at all.
Hello there.
Hello there. So if you pizza time, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start with this one. So, it turned out that it was a must include for me. I actually finished this arrangement very shortly before Thomas's proposed deadline to finish all arrangements. But at the time when I had finished it, Pizza Time and Pizza Tower in general was like one of the most popular games that I've seen in a long time. It takes a lot of heavy inspiration from Wario Land 4, especially, and Wario Land 4 has all kinds of very just off-the-wall, disturbing imagery that happens out of nowhere in the game. So Pizza Tower in general just kind of takes that energy and is super shameless, unapologetic about it. The sprite work is like a cartoon character. The animation looks like it was done in MS Paint.
In the best possible way.
Yeah, it just has a style, and every aspect and every element of that style is so fully and utterly embraced that you just have to fall in love with
Just
it.
committed.
It looks like a fever dream from late 90s Saturday morning cartoons mashed into MS Paint and then also like left on a floppy disk out in the sun for a while, and that's what you get.
No, left in a floppy disk out in the sun for a while. That was Inscryption, but that's another story.
Spoilers.
But anyway, so in wanting to capture some of Pizza Time's energy, I tried my best to embrace that with the tools that I had available, which featured not only the ensemble, but also Rahul nailing the drum kit part. Super challenging drum kit part. I had a little bit more guidance for this one than I did for Other Side. The solo that Rahul took was amazing, and then it got so fast to the part that it wasn't really playable by human bodies, so eventually it became played by MIDI bodies, as I found out very recently. By midi-chlorians, if you were.
Midi-chlorians, God.
This is by far probably the most challenging piece on this album.
Yeah,
It's up there
or
among
that
some
we've
of the
ever
most
done.
challenging things that the Game Brass has been asked to record, and it actually presents some interesting. So this one we do have sheet music for any group that is
Brave enough,
foolish
insane enough?
to attempt it.
Good luck.
But
have
it
fun.
actually it's actually kind of an interesting process of making the sheet music for this, because there's things that are in this arrangement that can only be done as a studio arrangement. Like at the start, the track is the parts are actually listed as like being reverb only for the trumpets and stuff like that are like effects you can only get in a studio. So I decided to try and adapt that to what like a live setting would be. Like, let's have the trumpet start off stage instead as an opening thing for that, or having to figure out where to make people say the spoken lines because everybody else might be playing, stuff like that. This one's hard enough too, where we do have actually two versions of sheet music available for it. So one that is in a not really much easier, but it is in a different key, in a different range.
A lower key, and it's more friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will admit, the part in the middle where it was like, "Are you prepared to get a little bit polyphonic?" And it goes, "Ba ba 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 da ba ba." That's me.
Yeah.
That was in B major for me, and so I noped out and asked for new sheet music, and I played it a semitone off from that, and then just edited it back to where it belonged, because that piece was really hard. I was dreading recording it. It turned out, and it's a beautiful. I will dare call it a work of art, but it was not without many tears.
Yeah. I'll also say with that part, it kind of ended up being a spin off of several jokes. So, what it's originally a spoof on is there's a sample in the middle of the original track where someone says, "Are you all ready to get funky?" Like really quick, like that, and that's about when the track accelerates. So then I took that, I'm like, well, I'd like to have something like that, but we're not exactly being funky with it. So I'm like, okay, well, what can we be? How about we just like actually have a big, at the time it was going to be a classical style bridge in the middle of it, and then I got to writing it a little bit, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is feeling a bit more Baroque. And then I didn't want to potentially cheese off people that are just like, well, this
Cheese
isn't
off.
really Baroque. It's doing all these things that a Baroque piece wouldn't do. So polyphonic was the line that I ended up going with, but that ended up making the phrase a bit more verbose. So I embraced into that as well. Or rather, I
put my
forced John
monocle
Robert to
on for
embrace
that line.
that.
Are you prepared to get a little bit polyphonic?
See, he's great at it now.
Yeah.
This is how you train a Pavlovian dog, everyone.
Yeah.
That's also not how
John
you
Robert
use the
is-
phrase Pavlovian dogs.
Yes, John Robert is the speaker in that line. He also screams. Professional screamer.
What was
Thank you.
referred to as the Lego Star Wars Yoda death scream. So feels like a really specific reference, but yes. Side note, speaking of Star Wars, Wilhelm Scream, I recently watched the new live action One Piece. I heard no fewer than 2 Wilhelm screams. Just putting that out there for everybody.
That's
Yay.
one too many. It's
Yeah.
one too many. Just saying.
Yeah.
Has anyone anyone heard the original recordings of that? Because they're amazing.
Of the
The
Wilhelm
slate-
scream, yeah, like
yeah.
they unearthed it like a year or 2 ago. Yeah, yeah.
Yep, the slate for it just cracks me up. Just this guy coaching the guy to sound like he's being bit by guy gets bit by an alligator. Beautiful. What a thing.
So yeah,
so
this
if
piece
you're-
was a lot of using the resources that we had available, like drum set. We had key click simulate a ticking clock. We had me playing the theremin. I actually had played the regular theremin, and then I added a couple of extra effects that distort the sound. So at one point you hear a theremin playing polyphonically. Theremin can actually do that. It's effective. It's an effect that does that. You can simulate the same thing through a pedal, though I didn't actually use a pedal. The theremin solo is, when I recorded that, I just straight up played the original track, which has this very large sweeping synth solo. It's kind of like very in your face, the original one. I just played it a couple times and tried my best to match it as exactly as I could on theremin. So using the resources that we have available. If you do play the live version, the one that we adopted as much as we can for like a university ensemble that can handle extreme contemporary classical techniques, like this is your jam, hopefully, right here. It's not really as much of a jam as it is a pizza, but we recommend simulating that with electronics to the best of your ability.
Good luck, have fun.
Yeah.
Please, somebody.
And
invent
So if anyone's just joining us right now, we're very nearly done actually, but this is our launch party / listening party / release day for the Brass Indie Expo. It is our 8th album together
yes.
in
Yeah.
6 years of being a band. That is
Yeah.
ridiculous. So, congratulations.
Yeah.
to everybody
Congratulations
involved.
to
Actually,
us.
plot our way to the end of this some way.
We did.
Again, this album's available
powered
on
through the
Bandcamp.
pizza.
It will be also available on all your other favorite streaming platforms tomorrow. And you can pick up a physical on Bandcamp. You can pick up sheet music on Bandcamp. We are going to release full music videos in the coming weeks for some of the tracks. In fact, this Sunday at 1 p.m. we're premiering a video for Other Side from Minecraft. So come back for that too. Again, we are the Game Brass. We should let's reintroduce ourselves and extroduce ourselves before we fully close out here with our final track.
Once again, my name is John Robert Matz. I am your first trumpet.
Hi, I'm Robbie Douye. I am the second trumpet.
I'm John Stacy. I am the horn.
I'm Daniel Rumberger. I am Le Trombone.
I'm Alex Hill. I am tuba.
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 I'm Rob Vanamali, and I'm the organized stuff hitter.
Excellent.
Stuff hitter. Professional
And
stuff
I'm
hitter.
Thomas Kresge, mix engineer and producer here. Everybody here also arranged
Professional
some of the
cat
tracks
herder.
on the album. Everybody here arranged at least one thing, except Raul, sorry. But each of the brass.
Sorry, Raul.
And another shout out to Doug Perry, who also performed percussion on this. I'm Ember, who did our album art, and who went above and beyond for this art, quite frankly. And thank you all for being here with us tonight. We'll have another album out someday in 4 to 8 months. Who knows? 9 months, 10 months?
Yeah,
Not gonna put a
show up in
timer
our
on it.
Discord. Go to the arrangement requests channel. Tell us what you want our next album to be, please.
Yeah. We are always, it's super friendly, super active, lots of nonsense, but just good vibes all the way around. And speaking of good vibes, our final track today is from a game that is near and dear to many of our hearts. This is Wandersong, specifically a track called The Bard from Wandersong. This will be our last track, so we'll talk about it a little bit before we jump in. But one of the reasons that Wandersong is such a beloved thing from us is, well, apart from it being a incredibly wholesome and beautiful game about a small person trying to basically save the world by helping people and singing, which are things that I think we can all get behind. I had the pleasure and privilege back in the day of playing the Bard. You can play the game and make me sing. So it seemed only appropriate then when we wanted to feature something from Gordon McGladdery's score for Wandersong that we would do something with vocals. So when Daniel took the reins on this and wrote it, handed me a vocal part, I went through back in the archives of information that we had and the spreadsheets for all the recordings that we did back in the day, and created a collection of, let's call them lyrics, that used the appropriate syllables that the Bard would sing. So you can, if you wish, make the Bard sing this in the game, if you so desire to sing along with this. But this is, again, up in sheet music form for your edification and entertainment. And I hope that you very much enjoy this. Thank you all so much for coming tonight. And I will complete my costume as I take off my hat
Yay.
and introduce, now that I can't hear any of my friends.
Hi, John.
There we go. Perfect. And introduce the Bard from Wandersong, arranged by Daniel Romberger and composed by Gordon McGladdery. Thanks for coming.
For the